Oh, shit.
Oh, we lost one.
Oh, thank you.
Good morning, you guys.
Group high five for getting here on
Yes,
Monday.
love you.
I like that you all did it. A+. So if you have any questions for our wonderful guests, we have people back in the back to take your questions if you'd like to ask them anything about any of their shows and whatnot. So we're going to get started here real quickly. Miracle, so what did you do this morning? What did I do? Oh my God. Do you know where I just came from? This lovely couple. They call themselves the Nerdlyweds, which I think is really cute. They purchased the chair from Dollhouse. Like it's the one that we sat in to get imprinted, and I just went and took pictures in it and did an interview in it, and I cried a little bit and I sang to it. It was really, really, really nice and very exciting. So it's like here in the building downstairs. That's what I sang. The minute I saw it, I walked into the room, right? Isn't that exactly what I did? I may have tweeted it. Did you tweet it? I hate when she tweets at me like that. It was the cutest thing ever. She like did a dance across the floor. Oh my God. The chair. Oh my God, it was so exciting. And it's blue, it lights up. I mean, it's like exactly the same. So that was kind of amazing. It's in this building right now downstairs. What if nobody in this room actually knows who I am right now? They're like, chair? That's great. Nice. Kristine, could you tell me about the body? I don't care. I still have it fun. We're both amused. It's fine.
Okay, so my mom named her son after the character Xander, and so we were wondering, what is the craziest thing a fan's ever done to impress you or know you or in any way?
The craziest thing a fan has done to me?
Or you.
Done for me. To impress me. To impress me. This hasn't happened yet, but if anybody wants to come to my house and detail my car, and I'm willing to take suggestions as well. It hasn't really impressed me. No. I was asking. No, that was that was a rhetorical impression. I'm thinking. I'm getting inward right now. I'm not like impressed.
He's Googling it into the computer.
I'm saying no, like what?
Waiting for it to come up.
Yeah, no, I'm just trying. It's just such it's an odd question because like impress. They tap dance a lot, I guess I don't have an answer. Everyone is super lovely.
Have you ever met any? Well, there was a baby here the other day, right?
That baby did not impress me at all.
Well, babies can't do
Because I'm used to I met a baby once that there's like a Pepsi One commercial where he's doing all that stuff.
Right. You met him?
Met him. And he didn't do it for me.
Do you want to ponder that question and get back to him on that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll think about it.
Oh, they're sitting. Have you been here the whole time when I told that story? Okay.
The two people here who knew you were talking about.
Right.
Is this them?
This is them. Stand up and wave. They don't know what we're talking about, but you should applaud them.
Good morning. My question's for Nikki.
Yep.
How did you feel, your character in Buffy was the most mentally stable of all of them. And that's, beautiful in itself. But how did you feel about the differences between that and the character you played in Private Practice? Because it, literally made you, sob.
You mean going from being mentally stable to being mentally unstable? Well, the character in Private Practice, when you play a rapist, you don't particularly, whether it's a rapist or whether you're a murderer, you don't think that you're doing anything wrong. So that character was just as mentally stable as in, it's just on a different level. Because it's not like, I'm not walking around thinking, I'm a rapist. I'm playing a rapist. So you just play it as normal as possible. Two completely different characters. It's also funny too because I remember it was I forgot I remember he had a middle name of Lee. It was something Lee. felon. His middle name was Lee. Like a serial murderer, you know, and they always have 3 names. But, you know, let's not forget Xander the Pat, too, you know? He was trying to get something that wasn't his. So, but yeah, so whenever you play something, I tend not to play towards that, like what I'm playing. I try to play it as normal as possible. It's more effective, I think.
Because you're a good actor.
I tried.
One person thinks you're good.
Thank you. Now 10 do.
One panel at a time. We'll convince the whole world. It'll be great.
First of all, good morning. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.
So I thank you for being here.
No kidding. Thank you for being here.
I'm glad I made it. My question is for Mr. Brendan. After that long of a show and being Xander for that long, what was the moment that was most challenging for Xander, do you think, as that character?
You mean for Nikki to play Xander or for Xander?
Either or, of course. And what was the most challenging moment?
For Nikki, in the Dream episode, where I was doing the Apocalypse Now thing, I kind of go in, and it's, you know, did you guys get my knees really did hurt down there, you know? And I said, you know, when I say, can I get up now, my knees really are hurting, you know? So there was pain there. In the replacements, when I was playing Schlubby Xander, I tripped a lot. And this was about 10 years ago, and I killed my right toenail. Because I would trip on this piece of concrete because I wanted to make it look real. So that's in a lot of pain still. I got a slip disc. No, and then in terms of Xander, the character, I think all of season 7 was difficult for a couple of reasons. First of all, he kind of lost. He wasn't as funny. You know, he became more real. And then the whole eye, like losing a body part. Even though it's, you know, I did have a lot of parties in my eye socket and everybody was invited. You're welcome. So yeah, I think that's probably not the real answer, but I don't know what the real answer is. So I'll keep thinking on that one too. I'm actually going to do a panel by myself at 5 o'clock to answer all your guys' questions truthfully. So come back at 5 o'clock. Okay.
Hello, I have a question for Ms. Sutherland. Over the course of Buffy, we see little pieces of who your character was as a young woman, like her tryst with Giles. But I was wondering what you imagined happened in your character's past. What sort of woman she was when she was Buffy's age.
Your backstory.
Do you need somebody to come with you to that panel? Backstory.
You were obviously a stripper at one point.
I think Joyce
Clearly.
was somebody who was a late bloomer, so I think she was very uncomfortable in her skin in high school, and in many ways it was painful for her to watch Buffy. I think it made me sort of overly concerned, especially in that first season when they're younger and lost, and we had that whole situation where we came from the other school, and so I'm really worried about her, but I don't quite understand what's going on. And I sense that she's got more confidence than I did as a teenager. So she's in territory that's not familiar to me. I think the divorce was pretty painful between me and her dad. So even as Buffy's finding her way through high school, I'm sort of finding my way as a single mom. Thanks.
You sold me.
Who's next?
Hi, my question is for Kristine. I was wondering if there was ever any discussion between you and the writers about Joyce's brain tumor in regards to all the repression of Buffy's activities in the early seasons. On a recent rewatch, I noticed that they said in those early episodes, oh, my mom's not, dealing with this information, that can't be good. And I wondered if this denial was considered to be a factor. If Buffy being a slayer in some way played into Joyce's medical problems.
I don't think so. At least from my point of view, I think that was for me it was a bit of a red herring because I knew I was going to die that season. So every script you're kind of like, whoa, okay. So when I got sick, I was kind of like, oh, am I going to have a slow death? And I was really curious about how I would die. But I think when people have tumors, they press against parts of your brain and you're often sort of not all there. So I just took it on that level. But that's a really interesting point that you bring up because you never know. I mean, sometimes that's the beauty of, I think, writers and actors, both in what they do, is things just sort of come out of your subconscious, and sometimes you're not even aware of how things link, but it's operating on that level, and then somebody says to you, oh, how about so-and-so, and you're kind of like, wow, yeah, that's amazing. But I was really, I thought it was incredible that Joss made me sick, and so you're kind of like worried about me and how's all that going to play out, and suddenly I recover, and I have that date, and I'm crazy about this guy, and I have a whole sort of new renaissance of life, and then just bam, I'm gone. Which is, I had always suspected I was going to go by an aneurysm, so it was like, and I almost had a couple of conversations about Joss, like, how about an aneurysm? But I never did, and I couldn't believe it. That's actually how I went. So, thank you. Okay.
Yes, sir. How can I answer your question?
And all you do. I have a question for Miracle, actually.
You know what the chair is on. Do you hear this? This is DragonCon.
When I found out that Nellie was just another active, a plant, a small piece of my innocence died that day.
I'm so sorry.
I was wondering, when were you told that you were going to be an active, and how did that change your approach to the character, if at all? Did your mindset change when you were told?
I actually auditioned to be the doll, November. Melly didn't exist in the beginning, actually. We're gonna die? We're not gonna...
We are.
It's just William Shatner beaming in.
It's fine. Okay, I've been making medicine. No, I auditioned to be November, and everyone that, like, Enver and Deech and I all had to do, I think, 3 or 4 scenes when we auditioned and read for Joss and stuff to see, if it could be versatile or whatever. And Joss actually wrote a brilliant script and premise to introduce my character into the world of the story. And the network was like, that's dumb, no one ever believed that, try again. Like, they did not like it at all. So, but meanwhile, they had invited me to come and meet all the writers and have lunch. And I'm like, shit, we have nothing to tell her. Like, we can't tell her what she's gonna do. We have nothing to tell her. And they were like, well, maybe Paul Ballard should have a next door neighbor that's like a plant and spies on him, but he doesn't know, and we'll reveal it later. Yeah, Eliza should do that. Wait, she can't. She's doing everything else on the show. Okay, Miracle will do it. Yes. Okay, what do we call her? I have a friend named Melly. Perfect. And then I showed up like an hour later, and then I just had this brilliant idea. So that's how things happen, and sometimes it's just magic, you know what I mean? And I think it worked out great. I think Melly was awesome, and I will love her forever. And I think it was a great device in the story. I think it was great for Paul and Tom, and I had an amazing time. So I knew that November would come up eventually. I knew there'd be some kind of reveal. I didn't know when, you know. So I just played it. When you're imprinted, you don't know that you're imprinted, obviously. So you just play it real. So I just rocked Melly as long as I was told to, and then when I read that script, it just blew my mind that that's how it was going to happen with the turn and everything. And, so it was pretty awesome. I was pretty excited when I read that that's how that was happening. So thanks. I got screams too.
Hi, I also have a question for Miracle. Was there a character you enjoyed playing on Dollhouse more than any other? I know you just said you love playing Melly, but like for some of the tougher characters, like the bounty hunter, were there any?
I enjoy being the bounty hunter. I'm a little bummed the scene didn't make the episode. Like I got imprinted and then it was like, and cut, and we'll just not ever follow through with that story. I think it's on the DVD extras. That was fun. No, Melly, Smelly. I call it sometimes. Smelly Melly. I don't smell. Why did I start calling her that? I'm asking my husband in the audience. Anyway, no, I thought
Why, Chris?
Why?
Why? That's, yes.
Smelly
You
Melly.
have a certain odor about you when you're
Sorry. I rated you. No, Melly was amazing. Playing the doll was fun also, because everybody had their own take on what that energy was like. You know, Deechan's was like especially spacey, which I thought was hysterical. I loved watching her just kind of walk around in her pretty little Australian self around the dollhouse. And Bear was great. So trying to find that neutral, childish place to exist in was very interesting. But Melly was my favorite for sure. You don't have to applaud for that one. It wasn't a video.
Morning.
Morning.
This one is for Nikki.
Just applaud that. I hope that answered your question.
I know you've done this at other cons, so will you please do the Snoopy dance for us?
Oh, will I do a Snoopy dance for you? It'll be after the last question. I will do the Snoopy. Yes. I'll do the Snoopy dance right here.
All right.
And actually, thank you for asking me to do that. I saw you last night, right?
Yes.
Hi, good morning. I wanted to, first of all, thank you guys for being here. Buffy holds a very special place for me. When my son was in Afghanistan, once every 2 weeks we picked an episode and Skyped each other and watched it so that we could keep in touch over something that we loved from the beginning. So thank you for that. But what I was wanting to know is, what do you guys got upcoming? What can we look forward to seeing you in?
I'm doing Criminal Minds. A couple movies too that are in the old tin shack.
Like it better.
It is now. What are the names of your movies?
Got Morningside Monster. Got Big Gay Love. And, Coherence, which is going to be at the Austin, the fan. The fan. Do you know? Do you know? Hold on. Give me. Now this is exactly why I deserve applause. Because it's going to be.
Well, you agreed to the Snoopy dance. I think that was worth the pre-applause.
Oh, there. Okay. It's going to.
Just tell them at the 5 o'clock panel.
It's going to be at Fantastic Fest in Austin. It's opening up this the 19th, and then we're going to Spain.
Never heard
It's
of
a
it.
lovely movie, Coherence. That's it. Okay, sorry.
I have a film coming out in November through Wolf Productions called A Perfect Wedding, which I'm very proud of. It was a small indie film I did with Jim Rebhorn. And so I'm very, very proud and excited about that. It was a great group of people, much like Buffy was, and we had a blast doing it. And it's got a great message, so thank you.
Why wasn't on Buffy? I don't know. I think question was for me. I did a movie with Alan Cumming and Garrett Dillahunt called Any Right, exactly. Called Any Day Now, and we won at Tribeca, Outfest, a bunch of other festivals I can't remember, and it was amazing. It's hands down one of the projects I will be most proud of forever because it's just such a beautiful film. So Any Day Now, it's on Netflix and iTunes and probably in Target and stuff like that. So look for that. And then I did a movie with Josh Duhamel and Dan Fogler called Scenic Group that just opened in theaters last weekend, limited release. But it's also on iTunes, and I play Josh's wife, Joanne. I have a small part, but it's a very, very, very cool movie, so check those out. The mic's not working. Give it 1 second. It's got a delay.
Testing.
You perfect.
Hi, this question is for Kristine and Nicholas. By the end of the fourth, going into the fifth season, Buffy, the cast is pretty tight and they reacted really well together. How hard was it to add Michelle into the cast, having a new daughter and a new sort of Scooby?
It's kind of tough because I love Michelle so much.
Mm-hmm. Did she fit right in that there? Was it? Wow, this is really big game.
No, it's there it is.
Yeah, for me, it was just kind of like, you sort of heard this theme of, you do what you're told. And so when they were like, and you have a new daughter, it was like, okay.
I felt like
okay, and we all came to work, if I remember, and nobody kind of knew what to make about it. And then I think Josh started sort of coming around, and people were like, by the way, fill me in. And so you have a couple conversations, but it was just sort of like, okay, this is the reality today. And he explained it that to us, she had always been there. So from that day forward, you were just living under a slightly different set of imaginary circumstances, which is what we do all the time. It's just pick up an audition, pick up a script, and it's like, okay, what are my circumstances? And so it was just like, oh, picking up another set of circumstances today.
Yeah, and I felt that it was almost like a note from the network that since we were just out of high school and they had so much success that they wanted to kind of still be in high school.
To young it up.
Yeah, as we're like now 18 or something. And I never had talked to Joss about it, but it just, for me, just felt that's what was going on a little bit. But I have no idea if that's the case. But it was odd. It was definitely odd because I honestly, people thought like when they heard that we were doing the musical episode, they're like, oh, Buffy the Vampire Slayer's jumping the shark, and I felt that the addition of Dawn, the shark jump, that leads well, which was the best episode of all time. It was definitely a shock.
It could also too have been that I was going to pass away and he didn't want Buffy to be just completely alone. That he wanted her to not only have that sense of maturation in losing her parent, but having to take on the responsibility of being a parent. So there's
And also Joss Whedon doesn't take suggestions from networks like, hey, we want to get younger.
Right.
There's going to be a teenage girl that's that.
Yeah.
Jocelyn, it's not good. That's not.
Good question.
Yeah, excellent.